What's up everyone, David here, got a new video for y'all today, but before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos, because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. I'm pretty sure you can tell we got our lovely ladies of the evening right here. It has taken me quite some time to finally accumulate all these cans. Why? Because I thought that would make for a good visual for a video specifically about caffeine. I'm talking about that shit that you all are addicted to because you refuse to get your sleep schedule intact. Don't ignore me. I know you can hear me. I'm talking to all of you caffeines. All right, caffeined. Get it? See what I did there? That's what we're gonna be talking about. I know a lot of you are addicted to it. I know a lot of you feel like, oh no, I can't get the day started without it. No, I need it to function. We're gonna be talking about exactly what is it? What are you doing to yourself when you consume caffeine? And it doesn't have to be energy drink related. That just so happens to be what I have and what I'm on. It could be pre-workout, it could be coffee, it could be tea, anything that has caffeine in it, any caffeinated beverage, any caffeinated food. That's what we're going to be going over. But before we get into it, we got to talk about what exactly is caffeine. It is God's gift to the world. It's what makes the world go round. It's what gets us going, make that money. That's right, Ale. That's right. That's what caffeine is. Get over here. Get over here. Right? You tell them. Tú dile. What is caffeine? A ver?
Caffeine is life.
Exactly. All right. Out.
Hey!
Anyways, but in all seriousness, no. Caffeine, what most people think, it gives us energy. It actually doesn't give us energy. It keeps us from feeling sleepy. But there's a small distinction. But if you want to say it gives you energy, go for it. Pretty much, let's think of it this way. Our brain, that shit inside of your skull, some of you don't think clearly, so obviously you don't have a brain in there. Throughout the day, it's accumulating a certain chemical that makes us feel more and more sleepy as the day goes on. That chemical is called adenosine, okay? Adenosine. That chemical is what makes us feel sleepy. It's what makes us feel tired. In the morning, we don't feel it as bad because we just woke up. But as the day goes on, hour after hour, we start accumulating more of that adenosine in our brain. That's why we feel more sleepy, especially as we get closer to the night. Now, what we do when we feel tired, when we feel sleepy, let's just say in the middle of the day, what do we want? We want caffeine. So why is it that when we drink any of this, we no longer feel that tired? It's because those receptors that the adenosine binds onto our brain make us feel tired. Once we consume caffeine, it's pretty much that caffeine will plug those connection points for the adenosine. So think of it like it's kicking adenosine out the way and it's plugging onto that part of the brain. It's latching onto there. So that's why we feel like we're energized, because now all of that adenosine essentially got pushed over to the side and the brain got plugged with caffeine. So that previous chemical that was there that was making us feel tired and sleepy is no longer having that effect, because now what's binding to our brain is the caffeine, or so we think. I said right now, what is binding to our brain? It's just the caffeine. But the adenosine, what happens to it afterwards? It still stays there. Even if you drink an excessive amount of caffeine, even if you eat an excessive amount of caffeine throughout the day, you may not feel tired, but that adenosine throughout the day is still going to continue to build up. You just don't feel its effects because you're preoccupied with the caffeine substance that is inside your body. However, once caffeine wears out, have you ever noticed you feel a crash? It's because once all of this caffeine wears out, all that previous adenosine that was previously built up, it had continued to build up this entire time. And now that the caffeine's gone out the way, well, now it's time for the adenosine to take full control, and boom, that's what sometimes makes us feel like we have that crash, because all the adenosine that has continuously built up, it now hits us like a ton of bricks. So that is something to be mindful of. So there you go. That is pretty much what caffeine is. That's what it does to you. It just replaces that adenosine. It pushes off to the side. It keeps us from feeling the effects of feeling sleepy from that adenosine. But caffeine does not always stay in our system. Caffeine always is going to wear out. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring in all these different cans. I try to bring the more popular brands that I can think of when it comes to fitness. Because I mean, let's be honest, this is a fitness channel. What's the most common way of caffeine that we're going to be drinking? It's gonna be either through a pre-workout or energy drink. Either way, it's gonna be some type of liquid, powdered mix in a liquid or a liquid itself. So I got Reign's right here, which are my personal favorites, man. I'm telling you, this orange creamsicle, Reign, come on now, sponsor me. What are you doing? I got all the common flavors of rain. These black cans right here, 300 milligrams of caffeine. Over here on this side, Alani's, that seems to be the big trend nowadays. I've been seeing it really pop up. 200 milligrams per can. Celsius, I got right here in the middle, which is kind of like a safe bet. It's kind of the go-to industry standard for fitness. That one's gonna be 200 milligrams as well. I got some Zoas right here, which is the Rocks brand, 160 milligrams. And then I got the old school stuff that either you old people or those of you who work in construction, realistically, y'all are the only two that be drinking Red Bulls. Red Bulls have 80 milligrams of caffeine. I talked about caffeine not staying in your system throughout the entire day. Eventually it will wear out. Doesn't matter which one of these that you drink, they're all gonna be wearing out the caffeine at different rates. What exactly is gonna be that rate? Well, it depends on the dosage. Obviously, the more caffeine you drink, the more energized and less sleep you're gonna feel for a longer time. But regardless, caffeine is all about that half-life. That means how long does it take to wear out your system? We'll start off with the rain. You drink it at, let's just say, 10 a.m. All right, 10 a.m. in the morning. It's got 300 milligrams. Its half-life means how long does it take for half of that caffeine content to wear out? After that, how long does it take for, again, to be split in half? And it just keeps getting cut in half and half and half until eventually it's gone. Caffeine has a half-life around 5 to 7 hours. So we'll just go ahead and meet in the middle and say 6 hours. So if we're drinking a rain, which has 300 milligrams at 10 o'clock in the morning, okay, the half-life is 6 hours. So where does that put us at? That puts us at 4 p.m. Now at 4 p.m., we have half the caffeine content in our system, which is now going to be 150 milligrams. We fast forward another 6 hours, that will put us at 10 p.m. You cut that in half again. Now we're at 75 milligrams per hour. We fast forward another 6 hours. Now it's gonna put us at 4 a.m. in the morning. At that point, what's half of 75 is gonna be 37 and a half milligrams of caffeine. So you see, no matter which amount of caffeine, whether you have this big cans with 300 milligrams, 200 milligrams, 160 or 80, if you're worried about it not wearing out in time, he's like, oh, I shouldn't drinking that because then I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep. Well, just time it out perfectly. Just figure out what the half-lives are, and whatever time that you plan on going to sleep, work backwards from there. And this is gonna take a lot of trial and error. Again, we wanna talk about the effects of caffeine. Everyone's gonna be hit differently. Different people are gonna respond differently to caffeine based on how big they are, genetic factors, how immune they are to caffeine, how resistant they are to it. And for those who don't know, caffeine intake, a lot of it has to do, I should say this, the effects that you feel from it also has to do a lot with your genetic component, because there's some people that could drink a lot of caffeine right before they go to sleep and they can still fall asleep good. It doesn't do anything to them. But then there's the flip side. There's those people that are very sensitive to caffeine, where even the smallest amount can really get them going. Their heart is racing. They're worried, oh man, am I having a heart attack, or is the pre-workout just that good? You know, it's gonna vary from person to person. But again, it has to do a lot with your genetic component. That's why some people say, no, it doesn't do anything. Well, good for them, or maybe bad for them, because that means they're drinking so much and it's for nothing. But again, it's also gonna have to do with how often you're taking it, because caffeine is a very addicting substance. You drink it, you get used to a certain amount, man, it doesn't hit as hard, I need to up the dosage, and it's very addicting. You wanna drink more and more of it, and the more you drink, the more resistant your body's gonna be to it. So now you have to do even more to get equal as an effect. You know, it's kind of like alcoholism. Hope none of you go through that. But whatever amount of caffeine you're gonna be drinking, if you're worried about your sleep quality, work backwards. And it's gonna take that research, figuring it out your body, figuring out how your body responds to it. That's what's gonna work in your benefit. For me personally, what I have found out is if I drink a 200 milligram can of caffeine, or just 200 milligrams of caffeine in general, like the Celsiuses or the Alanis, it takes me right around 10 hours for it to wear off to the point where I don't feel its effects anymore. And typically I've been trying to go to sleep at 10 p.m. at night. So I will not drink these cans, 200 milligrams, past 12 p.m. So right around lunchtime, if it's past that, if it's 2 o'clock and I feel like I need it, I know I cannot drink 200 milligrams because it won't wear off in time by my bedtime, which will be 10, but then I will opt for something that's smaller in quantity. So maybe a Red Bull, maybe a Zoa, because it's 160 milligrams, or the Red Bull, which is 80 milligrams, because I know it's a little bit later, but there's not as much caffeine content is, so it will definitely wear out in time. Again, the caffeine intake is going to depend from person to person. There's so many things that vary, but at the end of the day, you need to know what's going into your body. You need to understand its effects. Again, just a general breakdown. Our brain, throughout the day, we are constantly building up adenosine. Adenosine is that chemical that makes us feel sleepy. It's what makes us feel tired. The longer we go throughout the day, the more it's going to be accumulating. That's why at the end of the day, when it's nighttime, that's when you feel your sleepiest. That's when we have the most adenosine. Boom, time to knock out, bedtime, get a good night's rest. Caffeine, when you intake it, it will pretty much block off where adenosine is latching onto your brain, and it pretty much prevents it from feeling tired. But throughout this entire time that the caffeine is in your system, the adenosine is still going to continue to accumulate. You just won't feel the tiredness. You won't feel sleepy because the caffeine is taking priority. But once that caffeine wears out, all that adenosine that had previously been building up, boom, it's time to shine. It's going to crash. So that's why some people feel like, boom, that downhill effect, but every person's going to be a little bit differently. Caffeine, a lot of genetics go into it, whether you have a high resistance to it, a low resistance. It's going to vary from person to person. You're worried about your sleep habits, just know caffeine half-life of right around 6 hours. Realistically is 5 to 7, but meet in the middle with 6. Again, there are so many things that go into caffeine, but you got to figure out what's best for you. If you're someone who already has heart issues, high blood pressure, any type of health complications, definitely be real mindful about the caffeine that you're taking, especially keep in mind that it is a very addicting substance, all right? It's easy to get away with taking more and more and more. So you only take it on days that you absolutely need it. But ultimately, if your sleep schedule is not even intact, you shouldn't even be having to worry about taking caffeine. You should be prioritizing getting good, adequate sleep and a good quality sleep. You could be getting 10, 11, 12 hours of sleep, but if the quality is not there, then realistically, you're just wasting 10, 11, 12 hours. So again, drinking caffeine is like putting a Band-Aid over a large wound. No, instead, we gotta look at the big picture. What's the reason why we're tired in the first place? Is it because we're staying up on TikTok all night? Is it because we're scrolling? Is it because we're binge watching Netflix at night when we could be getting good sleep? If you're yes to that person, well, you might want to change those habits instead of waking up the next day feeling really tired and having to rely so much on this. But to each their own, do what you feel is right for you. Just want to put that out there. Hopefully this video was helpful for everyone. Hopefully you understand a better idea of what caffeine is and what it does to your system. Again, it's just a very condensed video, just kind of a broad overview of the basics of what I feel you should need to know about caffeine. If you want a more in-depth video, definitely let me know and I'll break it down even smaller, the science behind it, a little bit more in the timing, different substances, things like that. Comment down below if you want to see that. Also, just comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe not just to this channel, but my girlfriend's channel and our couple's channel so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos every week across the board for all 3 channels. For this channel specifically, new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. And Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on my accounts, girlfriend's accounts, couple's accounts. I put all links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.